Today on the show, I'm going to talk about my top favorite movies of 2013. This year, in 2013, I've seen more movies than I usually see in a year. I've seen a lot of movies this year, probably more so than you have, which is fine because this is my job, whatever, it's no big deal. It's not a competition, man. Anyways, so we're going to do a list today of my top favorite movies of the year. I may have missed a few things, I don't know, but this is how it's going to go down as it stands. First off, I want to explain to you that I don't feel like I'm really a movie critic. I don't really apply that term to myself. I look at myself as an artist who is analyzing other art, and so that's my perspective on the whole situation. Also, I'd like to bring up the fact that my list may not look the same as your list, and that's okay. If it is, great. If it's not, that's totally fine because art is super subjective, and I know that there are definitely going to be movies on this list that you're probably not going to agree with, and that's okay. Which is the perfect transition to my next topic of blockbuster fatigue. Which I am totally suffering from. Apparently it is a thing, and I have it. There have been so many ginormous, ridiculous, over-the-top movies this year, and I have seen pretty much all of them, and it's just, I just can't keep doing it. I didn't see The Hobbit because of it, to be honest with you, because the idea of sitting 3 hours through that sort of a CGI fuckfest just made me tired just thinking about it. I was tired thinking about going to see The Hobbit, and I'm already tired enough. It's the end of the year. I've had a crazy year, so skipped it. I'm not saying that I don't like the movie and that it's a terrible movie because I don't know. I haven't seen it. I'm just saying I didn't go see it because I'm tired of seeing crazy movies with crazy, everything popping out at you. Blockbuster fatigue.
Oh, I really wanted to see the depression of the Hobbits. Really bummed with you.
Well, there's a lot of movies coming out right now, and we can't afford to go see them all because we actually pay for these movies out of pocket because I haven't figured out how to see free movies yet. I haven't figured out how to do screenings yet. Still work. That's a 2014 resolution.
Well, maybe if you called yourself a movie critic, then people would let you do it.
Maybe. Maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot. Who knows?
But you're a special artist. Oh.
Trying to get hit? Without further ado, let's get into it. It's my top movies of 2013 in no particular order because it is not a competition.
Now! 2,500 tons of awesome.
First up, I'm going to start with a fun one. Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim makes my list. It was a lot of fun. The thing that I really liked about this film is that it was very joyful. You could tell that they had a lot of fun making it. There was a lot of soul in it, which I really appreciated. It didn't just feel like an executive's movie in any way, shape, or form. And it also had really good world building, really good tension and suspense when things were going on. The monsters were punching. You're like, oh God, how are they going to get out of this? Now there's 2 kaijus. Holy shit. It was a lot of really good moments like that really drew you in, that I really appreciated. I also like the fact that this is a really great drawing movie that you can just kind of put on in the background while you're doing stuff, which I know a lot of people out there probably are like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I don't care. A good drawing movie is hard to find and is worth its weight, all right? Another thing about this movie was that I really liked its overall message of teamwork. I thought that was really interesting. You don't really see that a whole lot, and that is a concept that I am all right with. I will say I'm a little sad that this movie didn't do better in the box office because of blockbuster fatigue. I feel like people had seen so many crazy big movies that they just were too tired to go see Pacific Rim, and that it was kind of unfairly judged because people were just tired of seeing crazy big action movies. It's kind of a shame. Del Toro is one of those directors where you can really feel his touch on the film, like he really gets involved with it and puts his own personal vision in it. And those are the kind of movies that I really like, directors' movies, where you can just really tell that they were allowed to have a lot of fun and just go and make it happen. Pacific Rim is totally one that I'm looking forward to buying on Blu-ray. I'm going to add it to my collection. Made the cut. Next up, I'd like to talk about 12 Years a Slave. I feel like it isn't a fun movie. It isn't a movie that I'm going to buy on DVD or really ever watch ever again, but it is a significant movie, and it's something that we should all acquaint ourselves with and watch because, you know, we hear about slavery, we're told about slavery, but this movie really puts you there and just really shows you the horrors of the things that we did in our own past. And it's really important to be able to look your dark past in the face, see what you were doing, and understand really like exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and why it was wrong. So you won't do things like that in the future. I feel like Django Unchained really paved the way for this film because that movie gave us an entertaining reason to go and see slavery, whereas this movie ended up taking it further, and instead of showing it to you in an entertaining way, it shows it to you in a really real way that is quite disturbing and very, very interesting, and even though it's like terrible to watch. You can't just see all the fun movies all the time. You gotta go see the important ones too that are there to teach you something about yourself and our society and our past and where we've been and where we're going today. My favorite documentary of the year goes to Blackfish, which came out in October. It's on Netflix right now. That's where I got to check it out. And man, that movie is super eye-opening and really embarrassing for the human race. It's all about SeaWorld and the atrocities that they have committed against nature and against these orcas and how these orcas are stolen and kidnapped from their parents when they're little babies, and how they're just like forced to work 9-to-5 jobs and then sleep in a little pen all the time, and how they're just like stuck in this little tiny pool. You think a fucking whale wants to be in a fucking pool and flip around for your fucking amusement and splash you? Like, fuck you, no. No, they don't. And you know what? There are so many problems in the world right now. There are so many problems, and some of them are just so complex that I don't even know how to go about fixing them. But SeaWorld is not a difficult problem. This is something we can actually fix. This is something that I'm hoping will be fixed in 2014. In fact, I'm going to go protest that motherfucker in January. So yeah, definitely check out Blackfish. It is super heartbreaking, and it's just such an atrocity that is going on today that we should really be aware of. Next up, I want to talk about two movies that kind of tied for me. They're both comedy movies, and comedy movies usually don't make my top movies list of the year, but these ones totally did, even though they totally have similar plots going on. One of them being This Is the End, and the other one being The World's End, which are both comedies about a group of dudes that are friends, and they're experiencing an apocalypse together, and they learn things about themselves and their lives and their friendships through this harrowing experience. And both of them are totally hilarious. I love the American version. I love the British version. Like, I appreciate both sides of these comedies.
Let's do this!
So I'll start with World's End with Simon Pegg, Edgar Wright, Nick Frost. Totally really well done. I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was super funny. One of the things that I really liked about World's End was Simon Pegg's character. He usually plays the straight man, but this time it was really fun to see him play the fool. For me personally, I know somebody totally like this who's just like stuck in the past and like wants to relive their glory days and just like never grew up and just has all these weird problems. And I think a lot of people have that friend. And if you don't, maybe you don't think this movie is as funny as it is. But if you do know that guy, this movie is hilarious.
James Franco's having a giant party.
Yes!
Everybody drunk out.
On the other hand, you have This Is the End, which I really enjoyed watching all of these comedians play these bizarro real-life versions of themselves. I really enjoyed seeing how they made fun of like Hollywood culture and like Hollywood parties. And I love that they committed to the idea of doing this biblical apocalypse, but in the way that your like teenage mind thinks that it should have looked like, which is totally not what it is in the Bible, but it's just super funny. I just really enjoyed this one a lot. Jonah Hill's especially had a really funny character in it. And yeah, it was totally worth watching. Like, I highly recommend it. I really liked the theme of this movie, which was all about friendship. It kind of reminded me of something that Alan Moore said recently about how interpersonal relationships are the most important things in life. More important than any art you create, even. I mean, it's just like the relationships that you have. And I think that this movie did a really good job of how friendships grow and sometimes grow apart and grow back together. And I love that when they're faced with this apocalypse, like what these characters decide to do, you know, like spoilers. I just gotta talk about it because it's really funny. There's a scene where they realize that like shit's going down. So because of that, James Franco is like, we need to make Pineapple Express 2. So they make it on like some little like camera from 127 hours that was left over. And it's like, that's totally what I would love to do if there was an apocalypse. Is just be like, well, let's just make a funny little thing that we always wanted to make. It's so cute. And man, Danny McBride is hilarious in it too. Like, he's ridiculous. This is one of the rare comedy movies that I'm actually gonna buy and watch a few times.
It was hilarious to see that.
Jonah Hill's gay version of himself. My next movie is my top science fiction movie of 2013. You may be surprised, but I'm totally going with Her.
What? Her? That's a girl movie. Has nothing to do with science fiction.
Look, I know that you don't have a heart and you don't feel things, but for those of us who do, it's worth a watch.
I have feelings. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Well.
Totally popped a boner yesterday.
Ugh, gross. Oh my gosh. What a thoughtful, heartfelt look at like relationships and love and our modern world and where things are going and the idea of computers gaining consciousness. I am really into consciousness and the idea of like us creating consciousnesses and what would happen with those consciousnesses. So I was totally all in on this movie. It didn't disappoint. I felt like it could be maybe a little bit shorter here and there, but overall the movie was totally perfect. Joaquin Phoenix, what a performance. Scarlett Johansson, I love that her character Samantha is even throwing the Academy for a loop in our own reality because they're like, can we nominate her for Best Supporting Actress because she's not really a character, which also kind of mirrors like, can you date a consciousness that isn't really a person? I don't know. It's a whole thing. It was totally awesome, and I really enjoyed it. It had one of my favorite scenes that I've seen all year. In fact, there are two scenes that really grabbed me this year, and Her has one of them. It's kind of a sex scene between Joaquin Phoenix and Samantha, and it's just so beautifully done. It's just so deftly done. It's just perfect the way it is. I was totally crying during it. It sounds really weird, but I totally did. It was so good. I feel like this movie is such a great example of sci-fi because it shows a future that's not too far away. It's a future that we could actually experience, which is also really exciting. I feel like more so exciting than a future that you'll never get to see. But anyways, but it shows how technology can affect your life, can affect a person, can affect a society. Whereas you see all these other movies like Star Trek Into Darkness, and it's not really sci-fi, it's just an action movie. This movie just has all the things I like. It has science fiction, and it has philosophy, talks about love, talks about relationships. So it's perfect. It was such a good movie. I feel like director Spike Jonze is one to watch. He has a very personal touch to his films. If you're not familiar with him, he also did Adaptation and Being John Malkovich, Where the Wild Things Are. And I just love seeing his forms of storytelling. I love seeing his visuals. And I'm just really excited to see his next movie, whatever that may be. Unsurprisingly, Catching Fire makes my top list of 2013. We did a really huge epic review of it. You can check it out right here. So I'm not going to talk about it a lot right now because, I've already talked about it enough. But I do want to say that this franchise has really taken me by surprise. I had no idea that I was going to really be as inspired as I am by this whole thing. I've read all 3 of the books since I saw the second movie. I can't wait to see the 3rd installment and the 4th one next year. Oh my God, I'm freaking out. So yes, if you haven't seen Catching Fire, definitely check it out. Hunger Games is totally worth your time. I know a lot of you have some misconceptions about this, some preconceived notions where you think this is just some Twilight thing, but it's totally not. You're totally wrong. It's talking about a lot of social issues that are very relevant to today that I think we all need to be aware of. So this is one to watch.
Hunger Games. I heard that movie's for girls.
Oh my gosh, Robot, we just talked about this like 2 episodes ago.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If I had to pick one movie this year, it would totally be Gravity. Oh my God, that film. That film just, it did things to me. It shook me up inside and just made me think about all these things that were going on in my life. It made me cry like twice. Like, it's just the very definition of sublime, which is just like so beautiful and terrifying at the same time. I just absolutely love this film. This is a movie where we haven't gotten the chance yet to do a really big epic review on it, but we will be doing one as soon as the Blu-ray hits because I'm totally buying this. I'm going to watch all the commentaries, I'm going to watch all the special features on it, and I'm just so excited. So yeah, Gravity, my number one top pick of the whole year. It's just blew me away. Totally blew me away. Gravity did things to me. It changed me. It changed me.
Well, Catching Fire.
Catching Fire opened my eyes and made me interested and made me want to do all this research and do all this stuff. Gravity transformed me as a person. And this movie isn't just groundbreaking visuals, because it is friggin' groundbreaking visuals, but it's not just that. If you take all the amazing visuals away from it, what you're left with is just a very spiritual film, you know? It just meditates on the idea of what pushes us to choose life when there's like nothing left for us, you know? It's just, and the thing is like our culture is devoid of spirituality. It's just completely devoid of it. So to see a movie that has the spiritual side in it just really resonated with me, and other people who are into that sort of stuff and like soul searching and all those sorts of things, you'll get it. You know, if you're just going into it without that sort of a mindset, then you may not get what I got out of it, but it's so loaded with metaphors. It's just something that, it's just a movie that crosses all bridges and just really, I feel like can resonate with every single human on the planet, no matter what religion you are, no matter what God you worship, you know? It's just, this is something that we all experience, and it's beautiful. It's a very beautiful aspect of humanity. So Robot's been bugging me. He wants to do his own top 5 list of the movies. So
Yes.
Here goes. Here's his top 5. Robot's top 5. Go.
All right, this is Robot's top 5 movies of 2013. Number 5 is Pacific Rim. Number 4 is Pacific Rim. Number 3, 2, and 1 are all Pacific Rim was the best movie of all time. Academy Award, Nobel Prize, Stanley Cup for Pacific Rim this year.
I think you may be a little biased.
Why do you judge movies the way you do?
Well, that's a good question, Robot. I judge movies based on a lot of different things, but it may not be what you might think. The main thing that I judge a movie on is based on its emotional core, what the meaning of this film is, because that's why I go to see movies. I go to see movies so I can learn something about myself and the world around me and somehow integrate that into being a better person and making the world a better place. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that that's what movies are really about. I mean, yes, it is supposed to entertain you, but that's not it. Like, it's not only supposed to entertain, it is also supposed to teach. And another thing that I really judge a movie on is the energy that I'm getting from it. I know that sounds weird, but like if I feel like it's a fraudulent movie, if I feel like some executives are just trying to make a buck off of me, then like I violently like hate it immediately. But if I feel like you have an artist at the helm who has a vision, who's like trying to tell me something, who's trying to do anything but just make money, then I'm usually like totally into it. So that's also another thing that fraudulence, that's definitely a big one for me.
What about when you said that 2013 was the worst year for movies ever? What was that about?
Well, I said that a bit prematurely. I said that in the late summertime, I believe. I don't know. I have to amend that statement now. They really pulled it out in the end. 2013 got its act together in October, November, December, and there was a lot of really great movies that came out in the final quarter of the year.
Whatever. You're a hypocrite.
Yeah,
You're a big hypocrite,
yeah,
aren't you?
that's me. So that's it for my top movies of 2013. I hope you had a good time, and I hope you go and check these movies out if you haven't already. And be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, be on the lookout for my Catching Fire epic review, and also in the future, whenever the Blu-ray hits, I'll be doing a big Gravity review, so be on the lookout for that too, 'cause it's gonna be awesome. 2013 really wasn't the year for comic book movies. I feel like they were kind of disappointing this year. I'm hoping 2014 will make up for it with Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier. In fact, a lot of the movies that I was really looking forward to this year were kind of disappointments. But then again, that's okay, because there was all these other movies that really took me by surprise that were better than I could have ever hoped for, because I had no idea they existed. So it worked out in the end. Lesson learned. Expectations are the mind killer. We need to all stop watching trailers and feeding into this weird movie buzz that they really started doing lately, especially with comic book movies. That's why I've really been trying to avoid trailers. A lot of people constantly ask me, oh, have you seen this trailer? Have you seen that trailer? And it's like, no, I haven't, because I'm trying to go into a movie cold and not know anything about it, so I don't have any expectations, so I can just enjoy it or not enjoy it based on the actual film and not what I thought it was going to be like.
That's ridiculous. I've already watched all the trailers.
Well, it's really hard to avoid them, to be honest, especially when you go to movies and see them, because there's always trailers before the movie, but whatever.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I haven't actually seen any of the movies, but I've seen all the trailers.
It's very telling, Robot. And this may surprise some people, and I'm sure some people out there will disagree with me on this one, but Gatsby, I really enjoyed it. It's my guilty pleasure of the year. You know, if you don't like it, that's your problem. That's not my problem, because let me tell you, I've got a total weird thing with like period dramas and costuming, and I love the 1920s, and I love the book. This was such a great translation from a book to a movie. It was very faithful to the source material that I really appreciated. If I had a time machine, I would go back to the 20s to party, and I feel like this movie finally gave me the party that I had in my mind of like what it would be like, so I was just like really excited overall. I love the fact that this movie is all like whimsy, fluff and puff. I love that it feels like a dream the whole time. It's got really great emotions in it, and I love like the whole message of just like, don't fall in love with someone that you don't really know and build this fake delusion in your head of who they are, because they're not that. Like, that's not reality, and you can't count on that. Which I think is a really important message, because a lot of people become infatuated with other people while not really knowing them and just build this big thing up in their heads, and then is like terribly disappointed when it doesn't happen the way they want it to. So I feel like it's a very relatable subject, and I just really enjoyed the movie overall, even though I'm not a huge Baz Luhrmann person. I was all about it. Well, it's got this great visual style. It has really great audio engineering going on. I really love the soundtrack that they put in it. But it's more than that. It's not just that. It also has a really great story and really great characters. And I think that F. Scott Fitzgerald would be like super pumped on it. I think he would totally approve of this movie. And that's all I need. And it's one of the only movies that I feel like you should totally see in 3D. It was a lot of fun. I'm really glad I saw it like that. Most movies, you can take it or leave it, but this one totally took advantage of the medium. If I find it on sale, I will totally buy Gatsby on DVD. I'm not gonna pay full price for it, but I would totally, if I got a deal, like a buy one, get one half off, then I'd buy Gatsby.